All men are bad, but some of us try real hard to be good.
Back in June of 2018, Paramount Network teamed up with Kevin Costner to bring us one of the greatest neo-Western franchises in the history of television. Since then, Yellowstone has become more popular than a beer on a sunny afternoon, and it has at its disposal some of the greatest characters as well as development arcs that you've ever laid your eyes on. But who are the most compelling characters of the show, and which characters have you forgotten about altogether? Well, whether you're a fan of the cattle ranching series, or you just want to know more about the people who've made it a success, you've come to the right place, as we're about to list the most loved and hated characters on Yellowstone. So strap yourselves in and get ready for a day on the farm, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new content that we put out there. Beth Dutton. First up, we've got Beth Dutton as portrayed by the one and only Kelly Riley. She's without a doubt the most compelling and beloved character from all 3 seasons of Yellowstone. Simply put, she's a strong and independent woman who at no point feels preachy or forced and is able to wreck anyone that tries to get in her way. We suppose that she can be summed up at best as a bit of a tornado, as she's often described herself, and might just have a tiny bit of a problem when it comes to all that alcohol she loves to throw back. Viewers were also able to see that Beth has a vulnerable side, which she shows whenever she's around her father or fiance Rip. But since people tend to take advantage of women who show their vulnerabilities, Beth tends to keep this to herself as much as possible. This is why the audience regards her as one of the best, while their characters might not have the same impression of her. Either way, there's no doubt that the vast majority of people tune in to Yellowstone just to see Beth tear people apart with her wit, strength, and go-getter attitude. Suffice it to say, she will always be our #1 pick. John Dutton. Keeping it in the family, we find John Dutton next up on our list, who's been brought to life by Kevin Costner himself. Although John has done some questionable things over the runtime of the series, he does seem to be the lifeblood of the show, and viewers tend to appreciate the fact that he's constantly trying to make Yellowstone as successful as possible, which often makes him appear as if he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. But by far, the most beloved quality that John has is his willingness to sacrifice for his family, along with his positive attitude in life. Regardless of how tough things might get and how many negative things he might need to do to ensure his family's safety and livelihood, John will always want to carry on. As he had told Jamie not so long ago, he never imagined there would come a day when he was tired of living where he still had the strength to do it. In other words, there's no better motivation to fans of the show than John the quote-unquote patriarch Dutton, which explains how he was able to find himself so high on our list. Rip Wheeler. Next up, we have Rip Wheeler as portrayed by Cole Hauser, who's pretty much the Walker, Texas Ranger of our generation. Viewers of the show absolutely love to watch Rip take on bad guys and get the better of them. He is the classic example of a sweet-natured man who you definitely shouldn't make angry, as in the words of the Incredible Hulk, you wouldn't like him when he's angry. That being said, the man isn't just the classic example of a tough guy on TV. He's also considered to be the romantic lifeblood of the show when it comes to his relationship with his fiancée, Beth. Think of Nicholas Sparks meets the Punisher, and you'll know why Rip is considered to be one of the greatest characters that's ever graced our screens. In an instance, he's considered to be the tender, open-hearted man that we all love and crave, as well as the strong and heroic man that most men want to be. It's no wonder he's third on the list. Jamie Dutton. Next up, we have Jamie Dutton as played by Wes Bentley, who has surprisingly been voted as one of the most beloved characters of the franchise for one of the strangest reasons. You'd swear that he, as the adopted son of John, actively tries to do anything he can to make his extended family hate him. And now that he's met up with his biological father, we shudder to think what terrifying plots he has in store with the other Duttons. So why would somebody so obviously be evil be one of the most beloved characters on the show? Well, simply put, viewers love drama, and there's nobody more dramatic and compelling than Jamie Dutton. The man's evil incarnate, that's true, a trait that he's clearly inherited from his biological dad. In other words, he's become the type of character that viewers of the show have learnt to love to hate. Without him, we've got no idea whom our negative attitudes would be cast at, so maybe we should just be thankful that we have someone to hate. And let's be honest, he makes both John and Beth look like angels in comparison. JC Dutton. It looks like the Dutton family will be taking most of the top spots on our list, as next up comes JC Dutton, who's played by the enigmatic Luke Grimes. For those of you that maybe haven't seen the series just yet, JC is John's biological son, is about a good day away from wearing a cape and huge S on his chest. What we're trying to say is that the guy is clearly the hero that Yellowstone has been waiting for. We also come to understand that that JC doesn't stand up to the bad guys because he enjoys killing or committing acts of violence. In fact, he always feels bad for the people that he has to take out the picture with, which, in our opinion, makes him a greater man altogether. The only problem here is that his attention-grabbing behavior has resulted in him getting quite a bit of love from both John and Beth, which could have caused Jamie to feel excluded, and thus act the way that he does. But hey, it's not like JC can control the rest of how the world feels about him, and we all know that we can't wait to see more of this heroic man. So much for Zack Snyder's Justice League, we want season 4 of Yellowstone. Chief Thomas Rainwater. Moving away from the Duttons, we have Chief Thomas Rainwater, as portrayed by the incredible Gil Birmingham. The Chief, as many have come to call him, is beloved for one simple reason. He's by far the most honorable and moral man that the series brings to our attention. While others like to do whatever they can to get what they want, the Chief has a certain code that he sticks to. He's the chairman of the Confederate Tribes of Broken Rock, after all, and thus needs to lead by example. Strangely enough, this strength is also his weakness, as stated quite intelligently by Angela, who informed him that he's never going to be able to get his land back if he doesn't learn to fight dirty. Whether the Chief stays as moral as he currently is, we'll have to see. But we feel like we might eventually get to see a bit of a tear in his character in the upcoming season. Either way, we're really excited by the concept. Jimmy HURDSTROM. Jimmy HURDSTROM, as played by the lovable Jefferson White, is next on our list and rounds out the selection of beloved characters by being as sweet as he is dopey. Fans of the show can't help but root for the simple farmhand and find themselves worrying about him quite often, as he does have a tendency to get himself in trouble every now and again. The true reason for his popularity is found in the fact that he encapsulates the principles of what you see is what you get. There is no hiding who Jimmy is, which is what leads him to the crazy amount of trouble that he gets himself into. This does, however, make him a very compelling character to watch, only adding to his overall popularity. Roarke Morris. Next up is the one and only Roarke Morris, who is portrayed by the charismatic Josh Holloway. The main reason why fans hate the character of Roarke is simply because they honestly want to love him. Josh Holloway has always been an incredible actor, after all, and viewers of the show know him as the anti-hero James Sawyer Ford that they all came to love while watching Lost back in the day. As Roarke is nothing more but a villain. As a fellow rancher and stockholder in market equities, Roarke is clearly looking to take over the land that John Dutton currently owns, and he's willing to do almost anything to claim it. Not only have bullets been fired between the families, Roarke has even planted a bomb in Beth's former office with the intention to blow her to bits. And since she is considered to be the most beloved character of the franchise, is it even a wonder that Roarke is considered to be one of the worst? Suffice it to say, we can't wait for him and Rip to meet up and throw hands. It should be made for a pretty impressive glorifying episode. Malcolm Beck. Although he is out of the picture now, Malcolm Beck, as played by the villainous Neil McDowell, secured his place on this list by being one of the worst characters in the history of Yellowstone. In fact, the things that he did made our blood boil with rage and included everything from kidnapping Tate to ordering the brutal attack of our beloved Beth. And since the signing of his death warrant was considered by most to be one of the greatest moments of the show, there is no doubt that he should be ninth on the list. Garrett Randall. Last but certainly not least, we got Garrett Randall, as portrayed by Will Patton, who takes on the position of the most hated character in the franchise. As the terrible biological father of Jamie Dutton, Garrett is a real piece of work. And it is because of him that Jamie is the way that he is, with most fans asking for the man to be taken out of the picture before he can manipulate his biological son. But other than his terrifying acts, the character in general is just plain old boring to watch. So, what do you think about the best and worst of Yellowstone? Be sure to let us know in the comment section down below. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later.